Okay, guys, we are going to start out here. I only pulled about 4 ears of the Jimmy Red, so I'm just going to start with my drying rack that I built. Now, I have a video last year showing how to make your own homemade corn drying racks. I have the old-fashioned ones. You can buy them on eBay. They're quite expensive. So
Miss Allison sent us, what, about 8 or 10?
Yeah, Miss Allison sent us 8 or 10 of them from up in New York.
And they work fantastic because you just slide the corn on. Danny didn't bring any down this time.
I didn't bring any down when I was up in the attic because that's where I keep everything. But what I'm trying to do is most people cannot afford to buy those expensive things.
Especially for a lot of corn.
For a lot of corn. So I showed how to take a 1 by 1.5 piece of poplar and put 3-inch deck screws in it. And I use deck screws because it won't rust. And I screw them in at a 15-degree angle. And it hangs. This is all the Jimmy Red that I did. Let me take you back here.
The hanger's on the other end.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry. I screwed these little hanger hooks up in here last year. They're all across this whole beam. And you can just take them and hang them up there like that. And just leave them hanging.
And it's a beautiful corn wall when he does.
Yeah, we have videos of the corn wall when it was up here. This was really was a beautiful sight last year with the Danny corn hanging up here. And hopefully this year with the Jimmy Red, I'll have it in the attic up here hanging like that.
Because you need to work on...
Because down here I got to be able to work on my tractor. So, but right now it's not going to be in the way enough. I'm fixing to do the Stroll Evergreen sweet corn, and we're going to hang it up there. You can do this when it's green. You can just a little bit green. You can push it up on there because the cob is kind of dry. I mean, cob's still green, but once it dries, you can't really.
You have to kind of screw it on.
Screw it on there. That's why I used dry deck screws in it, because right now the cob is still soft in the center. And it will make it somewhat easier to take off once it dries, being you put it on here when it's green like this, because you didn't screw it on it, you just pushed it up on there. Be careful doing this in case your hand slips. That screw could go into your hand there. And same thing with the actual store-bought hangers like that. The old-fashioned ones, they're actually worse than this.
Because they're just a sharp point to slide on.
Man, this is... Guys, this here now, this is not for eating here. Not all of it. Some of this will be used for seeds. And we have to do it like this because here in the Deep South, it's a race against Mother Nature and the rain and the humidity and the heat and everything, and the animals. The animals just come in like a vengeance. They start tearing it down, and then Mother Nature tears it down with storms and stuff like that, and it lays on the ground and it'll start molding and rotting and stuff like that, and makes it even where the critters get to it even worse. So there we go. Now, and these can be quite heavy, especially when they're got a little bit of moisture to them like this. This probably weighs...
Gotta flip it upside down.
Probably weighs 10 to 15 pounds, you know. It actually hangs like this. There's a hook on the top of it. And all I did was drove a nail in there and I bent it over. Now, if you wanted to buy the hooks, you could do that. I just didn't want to spend the money on the hooks. And I'll take this and I'll come in here and I will hang it right there.
And so you can hang them pretty close.
Yeah, you can hang them real close together. I could have went another inch or so, you know, even closer.
But there's enough airflow.
Yeah.
Danny will have the fan on. There'll be air flowing through here.
Yes.
And with this stowell evergreen, this is a sweet corn. Some of them are starting to dimple.
Yeah, and some of them, you can look at the base of them, like right here. You can see it's starting to rot right there, and that's because water was getting in the silks, getting down there and holding it. So I'm like, you know what? We just got to get it out of the field and try to get it in here and salvage what we can, and try to, you know, we'll pick out the best ears. Like say this one here. This is a pretty ear. We got a couple of them. You know, it's really nice ears. Here's another one here. Another one up here. We'll pick those ears and for our seeds. And I want to experiment this year if I can get enough of it together and get my seeds first. Whatever's left, I would like to dry it. And when we grind our cornmeal, I'd really like to try grinding some of the stowell evergreen and just see what kind of cornmeal it makes, because I don't know, you know, and the only way you're going to know is to try it and find out. And if it makes a really good cornmeal and it's got a sweet taste to it and all that.
I bet it makes some good grits.
It makes some, I bet it would make some good grits, yeah. And if it did, then that would mean that I would need to plant a little bit bigger crop.
A lot bigger crop.
And be able to just leave it, you know, we'd have to fortify it, but, you know, leave it, let it dry in the field, and harvest it when it dried for grinding to make grits and corn flour and cornmeal out of. So that's where we at today, guys. Thought I'd carry you along on it. Show you a little bit about how we're drying our corn the old-fashioned way. Thank you, guys, from Pecan Grove. Give me a back, girl.
Candy wants you to feed her by hand. You might as
I'm
well.
not feeding you today, baby girl.
She said, just hand me some.
Nope. We ain't wasting nothing. Y'all gonna eat it.
Candy's like, just feed me by hand. If I had some, I would. Danny's being mean, isn't he? You are one spoiled cow. Have us a baby or two.
We gotta get us a hammer mill from somewhere, so we can beat that stuff all up and make feed out of it instead of throwing it on the ground like that.
It works just fine. They do it themselves. You don't need no hammer mill.
I need a hammer mill.